guys, my name's Carl, and today we're going to be breaking down basic hygiene for middle school boys. So let's be honest, some of you guys reek to high heaven, specifically middle school and high school boys. But it's okay, it's not your fault. Well, it's kind of your fault. See, what happens is when you get older, your body goes through some changes and you start smelling in places that you never thought could smell before. So what I did for you guys was compile a list of 5 things to keep good hygiene. But I thought, who better explain this than my cousin Kushan. My cousin Kushan hails from the land of Germany. He calls himself a fashion icon, and he is the cleanest son of a gun I've ever met. He's also kind of a strange man with a strange accent, so hopefully you can understand him.
Guten Tag, little stinky boys. I am Kushan, a fashion expert and a really clean guy.
Full speed in the lane, still getting it.
Today, we are going to get real clean. So clean that other ladies will say, wow, you don't smell like a bag of onions. So buckle your bootstraps, Bill. It's time to get real clean with the 5 steps to good hygiene. Lass uns gehen. Nummer 1. Take a shower with soap. Nummer 2. Use deodorant. Nummer 3. Don't overdo body spray. Nummer 4. Brush your teeth. Nummer 5. Wear clean clothes.
There you have it. The 5 basic steps to good hygiene. Stick with it and people will want to stand around you more. So, go shower.
Good morning, guys. Well, actually, good afternoon, sorry. How's everybody doing? It's Friday, all right? You guys get to sleep in tomorrow, okay? Who's sleeping in tomorrow? Who has work to do with their parents tomorrow? Your parents are going to wake you up and bring you to work. There's always one. Sorry, but Jacob. All right. If you have no idea who I am, raise your hand, because that's important for today. Okay. Perfect. All right. So today we're going to talk about some testimonies. I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony. We're going to, one of the rappers that I love, Propaganda, he's going to share his testimony as well. And so we're just going to kind of talk about what Jesus has done in our lives, what God has showed me, and to hopefully help you guys, like save you guys some hardship so you guys don't go through a lot of the stuff that I went through. You can learn from my mistakes. Please do. And so before we get into that, we got to move around a little bit. You guys have been sitting down all day. So come on up on the stage. Everybody, come on up. It's okay. Don't be scared. Some of you guys always wanted to be on stage, okay? All right, and you guys are going to make one big circle around this stool, okay? You're going to make one big circle around the stool. One big circle, one big circle. Make sure to spread out. COVID, you know how it is. All right, go over there. Relax, relax, relax. All right, go ahead and back up a little bit. Go ahead and back up. Going back up. Hey, some of you guys over here. Perfect. Scoot down, scoot down, scoot down. It's okay. Don't fall off the stage. Our insurance does not cover that, okay? All right. Go ahead and back it up, back it up, back it up. All right. Scoot down, scoot down, scoot down. Josh, scoot down. You guys scoot down. Everybody scoot down. Make sure nobody falls off the stage. That'd be embarrassing. Okay. You two. Oh, you actually came to school. It's good to see you. Okay. You two, come over here. Okay. You guys can fill in over there. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. All right. Oh, you're new. I've heard of you. All right. So how this game's going to work, okay? Go ahead and give me some house lights, too, if you can. We're going to throw a phone on this called Lazy Susan. And if it lands on you, okay, you are out. Go ahead and give me some background music from the booth. All right. If there's 3 people in it, whoever's in it is what? There's always one. It's like, what? All right. So if it lands on you, you are out. Let's do a practice round. Ooh, I got to work on my triceps a little bit rough. All right, here we go. Let's just do one practice round really quick so you guys get the gist, okay? Tayshawn, stop being so awkward. Turn around. All right. So, for example, you three, Alexis, Joseph, and Tayshawn, you guys would be out, okay? You guys got it? Once you're out, go ahead and grab a seat. Whoever wins gets a Snickers and sour Skittles. I'll deliver it to you on Monday. All right. Let's find out who's going to win. If you are in the selfie, then you are what? Out. It's that simple, okay? All right. Okay. So, you three, okay? So, that's going to be from you to here, okay? You three are out. I'm sorry. Go ahead and scoot in, fill the circle. Fill in the circle, okay? Should I see if I can get a Nut Day pass for a winner? Okay. All right. So, Jaredin, you're gone with them too. Sorry, sir. You're gone. Yep. All right. Go and scoot in. There we go. Yep. Go and scoot in a little bit. Scoot in. All right. Perfect. You are out too as well, sorry. All right, go and scoot in. Scoot in, fill the circle. Perfect. It's the final countdown. All right, so Harley and you, sir, you are out as well, okay? Go and scoot in, fill the circle. The best game ever. All you gotta do is stand there and look pretty. Sorry, guys. Sorry, boys. You're gone. Have fun working with your dad tomorrow. Scoot in. All right, let's find out who is out. It is Hunter. Yep. All right. Perfect. Is that your mask? Pretty serious. Yep, go and scoot in. Get in there. Get in there. 6 feet apart. COVID. Joshua, you two are gone. Go and scoot in. Oh boy. If you're in that shot, you are out. I'm sorry. All right, go and scoot in. Oh gosh, you guys are so intimidating. Sorry, Tayshawn, you're out. All right, go and scoot in. There we go. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's you, bro. Sorry. All right, go and scoot in.
Trust and obey. No matter where this journey may lead me, I know you are good always. Fearfully and wonderfully created, we're all masterpieces to show the world the love of God.
Oh boy.
Fearfully and wonderfully created, we're all masterpieces to show the world.
All right, down to the final two. You're the only girl. Representing all the ladies. There you go, bro. Stay right there. Perfect. You can stay right there. I will walk in the plans that you have for me. I will
will follow. Trust
Yeah,
in
sorry,
the
Giovanni. You got, bro.
I will
All right.
walk in the plans that you have for me. I will follow, trust and obey. No matter where this journey may lead me, I know you are good
Sorry.
always.
Boys rule, girls rule. All right, so if it lands on you or right here, you're out, okay? If it lands on you or right here, you're out, all right? So that's your spot, that's his spot, okay? Let's find out who's going to take the win home. That's you, bro, sorry. Good job, man, good job, good job. All right, guys. For those of you that don't know, I'm Pastor Andy. I work with our elementary and also our middle school and high school. I'm the campus pastor here. So the biggest thing I want you guys to get from today is that Jesus changes lives. And if you are having a rough time here at BCS, or you need someone to talk to, or sometimes you just need like a 5-minute break just to like hit the brakes a little bit, you're having a rough morning at home, you just want to come in my office, you want me to pray for you, I'm here for you guys, okay? So I didn't become the campus pastor because Sue was like, hey, you should do that. I became it because that's what I wanted to do. So I am here for you guys. You guys have the privilege to have me at your disposal whenever. So if you're having a rough day, you can ask your teacher, hey, can I go see Pastor Andy really quick? Now, if you are being a complete tool all morning, and it has escalated right before lunch where it normally does, and you're like, I just want to go see Pastor Andy, you're already messed up, okay? You're a jerk all morning. Now nobody wants to deal with you. You did that to yourself, okay? If you're regularly just having a rough morning, like you're not starting any drama or anything, you want to come see me, I got you. Come see me. We'll meet. Maybe I'll take you out to lunch. I don't know, okay? But if you're having a rough morning, make sure you come and see me because I'm here for you guys, okay? Before we do anything else, also we know that we have youth on Wednesday nights from 5 to 8 o'clock. So we've worked it out with the school where you can hang out with aftercare. And some of you guys play volleyball, so you guys are already hanging out in the gym. And then you guys walk over to the youth room at 5 o'clock. And then if you don't have a ride home, I do van rides home. So I load up the 15-passenger van and I take students home. I normally don't get home until 11 at night. I love to do it. I love to serve you guys. And so if you're interested in coming to youth, come and see me after. If your parents are like, I'm not going to drop you off with some random guy named Andy. I need to know this guy. That's great, okay? So let me know if your parents want my phone number, if I can meet them in the morning and just say, hey, this is Pastor Andy. He's not some weirdo. Like, he's a genuine dude. Then I can do that to meet your parents, okay? Because if I was your parents, I wouldn't let you hang out with some weird guy named Andy that wants to drive you home in a van. So, okay, I get it, all right? So make sure that I get to meet your parents. That way they feel comfortable. And then also, if you're causing issues, I know who your parents are as well, all right? But just know that our conversation doesn't stop here. I'm here for you guys. I want to love on you guys throughout the school year. For some of you guys, this e-learning school stuff is coming easy. For some of you, you wish it was just over, okay? For some of you, you didn't think you would be at this school this year. For some of you, you didn't think that you would be in this grade this year. For some of you, you just don't even know what's going on. You're just here, okay? And so just know that I'm here for you along the way. I love you guys. I want you guys all to have a deep relationship with Jesus, but the truth is you have to choose that on your own, okay? I can get you to all the practices in the world, but it's up to you whether you really want to go pro, okay? So I love you guys. I'm here for you guys. Let's go ahead and pray before we get into worship together. And then we'll get into today's message, all right? Let's go ahead and pray it up. Lord, just thank you so much for each and every teenager that's here. I pray whether they've had a good week or a bad week, that this would be a time for them to just take a deep breath and know that you are the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and that you've changed people's lives. And I pray that they would allow their lives to be changed as well. And so, Lord, help us just praise you this morning, help us worship you this morning, and help us just have this time to just really focus on you. We love you, God, and everything you do. And everybody said, amen. All right, so if you guys were to be honest, okay, raise your hand with COVID. I understand COVID's going on. It's this virus thing. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. And so raise your hand if you haven't really been going to church lately on Sundays. This is a good way for those of you that never go to church to sneak in there and be like, yeah, I'm going to go, okay? All right. Good, okay? So for some of you guys, this is the only church that's going to happen in your week, okay? Because I know not everybody in here goes to youth, okay? So maybe for you, this is all that you get. Is this Friday. Yes, your teachers are Christians. Yes, your teachers love Jesus, but they're not perfect. They've already yelled at you a couple times, I'm sure. And so that's why it's so important for us to get that time in with God's word, okay? So before we do anything else, everybody stand up. Let's go and get into our first song this morning, okay? Or this afternoon. Everybody up, everybody up. night or this afternoon, I want to say this, okay? That you don't need some big, huge, like make everybody cry in the room testimony. If your testimony is that you got saved at the age of 3 and you genuinely accepted Jesus at the age of 3, then that's your testimony, okay? You don't need to like go like and party and like be with a bunch of women or guys and then like get hooked on cocaine and like drive limos and parachute into the Grand Canyon and then be like, you know what? I'm going to get saved. Then I'm going to make videos, and it's going to be amazing, okay? That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm hoping that today's testimonies will be like a stop sign for you to be like, well, hold up. Let me see if I can adjust my life for a win, the biggest win that you could make now instead of later, okay? The goal of today's chapel is to save you heartache, to save you pain, and to give you more time, okay? I don't know if you've ever lost somebody yet that you love, but there's not a whole lot of time here, okay? Some of you guys maybe lost a best friend at a young age, or you've lost a parent at a young age. There's not a whole lot of time on this earth. So I'm hoping to give you the most valuable thing in life this morning, and that's time. Okay? I also know that my story is just one story out of thousands and millions of stories. And so I'm going to give you my story today with Scripture, and I'm also going to have somebody else share their testimony through a video. So go and watch this video on the screen, and then we'll get into God's Word.
My story begins kind of like it's a fish out of water story. Even though I was born in South Central LA, my particular story starts 20 minutes outside of that in the San Gabriel Valley in West Covina, La Puente area. So I grew up in like an all Mexican, like super violent neighborhood. I didn't even know it was as dangerous as it was. I just thought that that's how people live. My neighbor's house became a crack house. Like, I didn't know that. I just knew they didn't turn on their electricity. And I thought it was like camping, like they cook with candles, but no, it was crack. I was the one black kid being teased because of my color, getting chased home, getting banged on when you walking home, like, where you from, me? I'm like, and I recognize homie, like, I'm like, Paco, man, like, I live 2 streets from you. What are you talking about? And then even when we moved out to the suburbs, even there, again, like that was a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, and we were the poor kids that just moved in, and just these weird black people that spoke Spanish, you know what I'm saying? And like, they didn't get us. And even down the street at the church we went to, for some reason for me, I was getting convicted. Like, I feel like God has split the roof open and is talking to me directly. But the guys that were my age, I remember them not being affected at all. But it would just trip me out, because like, I felt like nobody else felt like that. But in my mind, it went back to just the same way I grew up. Well, I've been the only my whole life. So if I'm gonna be the only here, I'll be the only there. Meanwhile, church service I was never missing. Mama made me take notes to see if I was listening. But I lived among the Mexicans, so I never did the Crip thing. Instead, they gave me cans to write my name up on the bricks thing. All the while God was training me to hear his voice. Cause only he knew that I would soon make a choice. I was this tagger, / rapper, son of a Black Panther. And they got high hopes for him. He gonna be a pastor. So should he run with the church boys, the backpackers of thugs? And it's funny, it seemed like the Lord's answer was all of the above. I like to say that I was slow cooked, in that I would say it started in 6th grade and then culminated my junior year, examining just my experience in life and just always, again, feeling like I don't belong. Whether I was born the wrong color, in the wrong neighborhood, in the wrong decade, to the wrong parents, like all this, like I'm just not an alpha male. I was an artist, like I would draw all the time. I wrote poetry, come on now, you know what I'm saying? So I think there was a moment when my father finally pointed to a particular passage, Psalms 139, before you were in the womb, I knew you. He said, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows well. And I think that it was there that I realized that my value is not determined by some particular innate quality that I have. No, your value is because God was willing to pay the cost of his son for you. That's the price he was willing to pay for you. But it cost me personally nothing. That all this was on purpose. Everything you are, your whole goulash of experiences and gifts, all the scars, every hurt, every failure, being spit on walking home, like all this, it's on purpose. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're exactly what I want you to be. You was looking at a last-born, rightful heir to the throne, son of a nobody with poverty in my bones, and that's beautiful. See, we ain't never had nothing, but nothing was sufficient. It kept my belly full of the stuff the rich was missing, and that's beautiful. My mama used to say, don't nothing God do go to waste. And I'm seeing that happen in my life. When I started rapping full time and doing poetry full time, being so comfortable, you know, among Mexicans, being able to identify with their struggle. I know what it means, like I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like I speak the language, I know the slang, I know the pitfalls, like I know all that. I feel like my run has been a proclamation of that truth, that like my block didn't make me, you know, the creator did. So in honor of Jimi Hendrix, I string my life instrument backwards and choose to play the back, cause in the word last is first, and that's beautiful. Like the pain and every scar you got, I prefer to call them life tattoos. They're masterpieces, and they're beautiful. In the most intimate and personable way to say this, Christ he's given me personhood. My name is Jason Petty, AKA Propaganda, and I am second.
So we're going to be in 2 Corinthians this afternoon. So if you got your Bibles or a Bible app, go ahead and turn to that. That's where we're going to be, 2 Corinthians chapter 5. It says this in 2 Corinthians 5, verse 16. So we have stopped evaluating others from a human point of view. At one time we thought of Christ merely from a human point of view. How differently we know him now. This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone, and a new life has begun. Okay? And so whether that's happening at the age of 2 or 3, I remember the first kid that I led to the Lord was a kid by the name of Andrew Scheffler, and I led him to the Lord, and I baptized him, and it was just, he was young, but you could tell like he got it, you know, and I couldn't take that away from him. And it's the same thing for you guys. Like if you have a testimony, if you got saved at the age of 3, then you got saved at the age of 3, and that's your testimony. And if you're coming in here and you lied on that application and you said you weren't a Christian, okay, because when you guys come into the school, you say, yes, I believe in Jesus, okay. And some of you guys believe in Jesus, but you're not really walking with him. And so you say yes to get into the school or to do it because your parents told you to, and then you get in here and you're just kind of just like floating. If I were to say, hey, when was the last time you and Jesus had a moment together, you'd say, I don't know. And so I hope that you guys would create those moments with Jesus, because I definitely did not until I was like 15. I grew up in a house that did not go to church. I grew up in a house that it was just work and family, and we had nothing to do with God. I did not like Christians. I did not like youth groups. I did not like churches. I had a girl try to get me to go to her youth group throughout early high school, and I was like, I'm not going to your youth group, I'm sorry. And she's like, you should really come, it's really nice. I'm like, well, the people that I hang out with are nice too. I don't need to go to your youth group. And so and someone told me, like, what do you think of Christians? And I told them that I said, well, Christians are people that cannot handle the world on their own, so they need to believe in their little God to get through their little life, and that's how they continue on, because they need to believe in something. And I said that for years about people. they would say, you know, Andy, you should come to church with me. And we went to Catholic Mass once a year. And so we would go to Mass once a year, which basically meant we could do whatever we want for the rest of the year. We were good with God. We could murder people, party, whatever. And then as long as we do it again the next year, we're good. And so that's how we grew up. And I thought that for years. And I went into high school. I was hanging out with seniors when I was a freshman. I was hanging out with guys that have already graduated. And they loved to party, and I didn't know anything about that. And so I started partying with them and started smoking and drinking and got into dealing a little bit. And so I went down a bad road. I have struggled with school my whole life. I am not an advocate of school. I do not like school. I didn't appreciate school until I got older. I know this is really controversial because I'm talking to a school. And so I promise I'll bring it around, teachers. All right, so I just did not like school. If you were the kid that sat in class and you're like, why are we here? I could be making money right now. What am I doing in this class? What does y equals mx plus b have to do with anything? I don't need that. And I said that for years. It was frustrating for me. And so I hated school. I hated Christians. I began to start even hating myself because I knew I wasn't going to become anything. I knew that I was probably going to end up being some kind of construction worker and marry a girl maybe, you know, and settle down at some point. But my life wasn't really that fulfilling. And I couldn't believe that, like, my life, like, I'm supposed to go to school, which is like blah. We could all agree. Okay, it's not that great. And then you go to college, which is super overpriced now. And then you go into debt, okay? And then you get out of that in hopes of getting the job that you want with, like, thousands of dollars in debt. And then hopefully you marry somebody. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when you marry somebody, I hope, they're the complete opposite of you majority of the time, okay? From, like, you know what I'm saying, to how they act, how they are. And so I'm supposed to get married, work 40 hours a week, and then at some point I could get cancer and die or get hurt or terminally ill and, like, being a week. Like, I just, what? There's no way that that's life. There's no way. I was born, I work, and then I die. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that just doesn't, I don't understand that. And so in this time of soul searching, okay, it reached a point where my mom had this brand new car. She had just bought like a Nissan Armada, and it was like brand new. It was like 3 days old. And me and my buddy, we were watching drag racing, and I was like, that'd be really cool if we went drag racing right now. And he was like, what? And I was like, let's go drag racing. So I got my mom's brand new keys, okay, her keys to the car. I start the car up. I learned how to drive that summer, so I knew kind of how to drive, all right? I want you to imagine it's a neighborhood with a speed limit of 35, okay? I am doing 75 in a huge SUV with a couple weeks of experience trying to find hope in a dark place. It just rained, by the way. And the road Y, like, it reaches like this Y. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to drift like in Tokyo Drift, okay? All right? I was like, let's do this, okay? I crank the wheel as hard as I can. I realized that is a mistake. And then I recorrect back. And by that time, it's too late. And I'm hitting that Y. I hit the grass. Then I hit 2 signs. And then I hit a stop sign, okay? I didn't, like, hit the stop sign. Like, I hit the stop sign, okay? And my buddy got busted for pills a couple days before from the cops, so he said, we got to go. I said, okay, I'm not going to be a snitch. Let's roll. So I throw it in reverse. I peel out. I was like, that's kind of cool. And then I throw it in drive. I thought that was pretty sweet, too. And then so I get home, and we have this reflective sliding glass doors at our house, okay? And I pull up, and I can see the reflection of the car, and I immediately start crying. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't know how your mom is, okay? My mom is aggressive, okay? My mom gets in your face when she's mad. My mom will slap you, okay? I'm 27. My mom will still grab me, okay? So I call my mom, which, by the way, is a Palm Bay police officer that just got out of briefing and is about to go onto the streets to go work. And her son is doing all this. And so I call my mom, and she says, Drew, are you kidding me? There was other words, but we're in school, so I can't say. And so my mom says, Drew, are you kidding me? And I said, no, Mom, I'm not kidding you. This really happened. She said, Drew, you're kidding. I said, Mom, I'm not. She said, Drew, are you kidding me? I said, Mom, I'm not kidding you. And she just hung up. You know when Mom just hangs up? She didn't say bye. I was like, I'm dead. This is my life. It's over. And so long story short, cops gets there. My mom is about to slap me, and I say, hey, Mom, cops are here. And she was just like, she said, you're lucky. Again, with maybe some other words. And so as she said, I was lucky. Long story short, I got put on probation for a month. I had a parole officer or a probation officer and all that, but they weren't drug testing me, but I told all my friends that they were. And the reason why I told them that they were drug testing me is so I could finally get out of doing all that stuff. They would stop pushing me to do all that. And so it gave me a month to kind of reevaluate my life, and I was like, I don't want to live like this. Like, these guys are like 27, 28 years old, still living with mom, losers, not making any money, like they're broke all the time. I don't want to be that. And so I got older, all right, and within that time, in that month, my mom separates from my stepdad at the same time. We were finally starting to get along. That moment when we left that day led into a huge fight between both parties, and I almost got physical with him when we almost had the cops called because I was like being very aggressive with him. All right? And so, but I'm still on probation, so I got to be careful what I do. And so we end up moving to Palm Bay. My mom meets this guy on her squad after my mom and my stepdad break up, and he says, why don't you come to Bethany? Now, when I used to party, you'd party hard on Friday night. You'd party harder on Saturday night, and then Sunday is what I would call recovery day because I had school on Monday. And so Sunday would be recovery day for me, and I would normally sleep in until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Well, I stopped partying at that time. My mom said, hey, we're going to go to church. I said, Mom, we're not going to church. You're going to church? She said, yeah, I'm going to church. You should come. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to church. And she's like, no, you should come. I was like, okay, whatever. I wanted to get out of the house. I didn't feel like sitting at the house all day. She said she was going to go to lunch after. I was like, it's free lunch. I'm in. Let's go to church. And so we go to church, and I'm already like, this is weird. I don't like this. And so we come in, and we sit in that back section right there, in that little back section right there. And I wasn't going to come to the front on my first time ever in a Christian church. That wasn't going to happen. So I rolled into the back and just kind of slipped in, sat down, and prayed to God nobody talked to me. And now to back up a little bit, when I was 9, on the first day of 4th grade, my dad passed away. And so that had a lot to do with me partying hard. That had a lot of me trying to find myself. And so when service started, they started singing these, they call them worship songs. Okay, we just sang one. And it's when everybody stands up and they worship God and they sing his praises out and they're raising hands. And I'm like, what is happening? Why is his hand up? Does he have a question? And my mom was like, no, they're worshiping. I'm like, worshiping who? She said, God. I said, this doesn't make any sense. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm just kind of like what you guys all do during worship. You just stand there and stare awkwardly. And so I'm doing that, and then like this song came on called Amazing Grace. And I was like, man, that's a good song. And then I began like this emotion stirring up inside of me, and I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what is, like, I didn't know. At first, I thought it was my earthly father talking to me, because remember, he passed, and so I thought my dad was trying to talk to me, because I grew up with Catholic grandparents, so they were like the angel, you know. There's a lot of communication going on with dead people, and so, all right, and so I thought it was my dad talking to me at that moment, so I just began to weep, and I'm crying, and I'm already in a place where I don't feel comfortable because I've never been here before, and I'm sobbing, and so I go back out into that foyer area, and I'm just pacing back and forth. And I remember just pacing and just like sobbing. I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm almost like frustrated. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, why? Like, what is going on? And then so I finally got my control of myself. I went inside. I sat down, and like they were wrapping up on the final song, and I'm just bawling. I'm bawling. Like to the point to where like I'm sitting down while everybody else is standing during the worship song bawling. And I don't know what's going on, but then I realize that it's not my earthly father talking to me, it's my heavenly Father talking to me, and I'm listening for the first time ever in my life. And so I accept Jesus that day. And I just remember just a new, it felt like that verse, like just a new person. Like I used to cuss a lot. To the point where I would be hanging around my grandmother. My grandmother would be like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. It's just how I talk. She's like, no, it's not. And that's just how I talk. And I stopped cussing, and I stopped lying, and I stopped stealing. I got rid of all those friends, which was the hardest decision I ever had to make. Because they would drive up to Palm Bay and be like, hey, Andy, like, come on, hang out with us. Come out. I was like, nah, man, I can't. And to be honest with you, nobody actually called me Andy then. It was always Andrew or Drew. But when I got saved, I wanted to be called something different. It was a new me. And I remember when the youth pastor came and talked to me, he was like, hey, man, you're new. What's going on? And I was like, hey, man, I just accepted Jesus. And then I went to youth for the first time 2 weeks later. That's another story for another day. And I remember when he asked me, like, what my name was, I remember just saying, like, Andy. And it was just a new day. It was a new me. I am nothing like the person I was. Nothing. And that's not something that, like, the worship leader did at the time. His name was Gary Durbin. Like, he didn't do that. The pastor didn't do that. It was God doing that. And so I hope to save you time in your life and for you guys to accept Jesus and follow him, but you got to choose that. I don't want you to go through all those mistakes and dark times to finally get to a place of joy. And some of you guys I've known since you were in first or second grade. For some of you guys, kindergarten. And now you guys are with me on Wednesday night. That's crazy. Crazy. And so, and I hope and I pray that you guys have listened over the years to what God has done in my life. Because the first point for today is this, okay? It's going to be on the screen. Write it down. Is live out your new life, okay? If you're coming in here this morning and you're saying, Pastor Andy, I love Jesus. That's great. Live out your new life. Live it out. If you say that you love Jesus and you're like, I love the Lord, you worked on my life, that's great. Live it out. Do it. Live out your new life. If I got saved in that moment and I didn't do a dang thing about it, would that be any good? No. At least one person's listening. That'll work, okay? No. No. Okay, that would have done nothing. But I lived out my new life. I got called. I thought I was going to be a Florida Fish and Wildlife officer, okay? Good thing that didn't happen, right, Hunter? Okay? And so now I'm a preacher, and it's all because of what God did in my life. I'm not a pastor because I chose to be. It is one of the hardest professions out there. And sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? But it's because God put me here, and that's why I'm doing it. You think it's easy to talk to teenagers? You guys are super intimidating. Nobody looks like they're having fun right now. Okay? And then I got to come before you and bring God's word. Okay? Like Joseph's neck hasn't changed in the last 20 minutes. Okay? And I'm like, that's not easy. Okay? It's not easy. But it's what God called me to do, so I'm going to do it. And so if you are saying, Pastor Andy, if I were to walk up to you right now and say, hey, do you love Jesus? Yeah. Great. How are you living it out? I don't know. Okay, so I hope when you get up to heaven, you say, hey, am I supposed to be in here? Jesus is going to be like, I don't know. I don't want that. Hey, God, was I a good and faithful servant for you? I don't know. I want to hear yes. I want to hear, yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Not, I don't know. Okay? Second point for today is this, okay? Stay hungry. Okay, obviously I'm hungry, okay, look at me. You don't get this big by just like eating salads and fasting, okay? So, but you got to stay hungry. And what I mean by that is not so much food, okay, because we all love food. And I don't know if you guys got an air fryer yet, but that sucker's dangerous, all right? Hot Pockets, yum. But we got to stay hungry. It's Red Robin, I know. But we got to stay hungry. And what I mean by that is that some of you guys have gotten saved at like 4th grade or with me at a Wild Wednesday, and you're like, yes, I want to accept Jesus. Great. Live out your new life. Got it. And then after a couple months, it's just like you're just floating. And if you're a Christian coming in here and you just feel like you're floating, you got to get hungry. You got to get hungry. Hungry for his word. When you walk into your church on a Sunday, are you taking notes and like being like intentional about what you're doing, or are you just like, I'm here. I'm going to stay hungry, Pastor Andy, for lunch. But as far as this biblical word, I don't know what this man's saying. Are you taking notes? During worship, are you just like, are you so concerned about everybody else in the room that you're just like, I don't want to raise my hands because then people are going to look at me. Forget them people, man. They don't even know who they are. Okay? You're teenagers. Nobody knows who they are yet. So just raise your hands, worship him. Like he changed your stinking life. He saved me. He saved me. God moved us to Florida, okay? I'm not going to go in details on how my dad passed away, but if I would have stayed in Vegas, it would not have been good for us. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if we would have stayed there, my mom swore that I would have became a drug dealer, which is funny because I did some stuff in Florida. Who knows what would happen if we stayed in Vegas. But God saved me. God saved me. My mom didn't change me. My stepdad didn't change me. My new stepdad didn't change me. My pastor didn't change me. God saved me. God changed my life. It says this in Colossians in our last verse for today. And it says this. Colossians 3:23, work willingly at whatever you do as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people, okay? I said earlier that I did not like school, okay? I don't. But, okay, you need school because if you never learned how to write or read, it's not good. It's embarrassing, okay? You can't be like, hey, I would love to date your daughter. What does that sign say? I don't know. It's embarrassing, dude. Nobody's going to let you date their daughter if you can't read, okay? So whatever you do, all right, I went from having a 1.7 GPA my sophomore year, okay? 1.7. Can you graduate with that? No, you can't. That means like 10 years for nothing. That's depressing, okay? 1.7. My counselor brought me in on a Thursday. I had youth on Wednesday, and on Wednesday, my youth pastor talked about that verse, Colossians 3:23. You go and leave that verse up there for me. And he talked about this verse, about how we got to work as if we're working for the Lord. And I remember telling him, I don't like these teachers. And he was like, good. You're not working for them. You're working for the Lord. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And sure enough, it was right. Because you guys are going to have bosses, you guys are going to have teachers, you guys are going to have fellow students, you guys are going to have managers that you don't care for. But it doesn't matter who they are or what they're about. What matters is who are you working for. I went from failing school to on AB honor roll, and I had to get AB honor roll all of junior and all of senior year to bring that 1.7 up to a 2.0 to graduate. And I did. I graduated. Woo! Awesome. Okay? So, and then I went on to get my associates, and then now I'm wrapping up my bachelor's. And so it's hard, but like we got to get after it. Okay? You got to stay hungry. If you guys don't like school, it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter that you don't like school. I don't like spinach. It is what it is. You got to work as hard as you can, though, for the Lord. Not because your parents want you to, not because your teacher. Work for God. And that changed it for me. That changed my whole mindset about school. That changed my work ethic. I remember my first job was being a dishwasher in downtown Melbourne, and I said to myself, I'm going to be the best dishwasher that's ever walked into downtown Melbourne. And I was. I was the best. I worked as hard as I could. When I worked at Home Depot in college, I was like, I'm going to be the best cart pusher they've ever seen. And I was. The managers would say, we've never had a parking lot that clean. I'm like, boom, I love Jesus. Worked as hard as I could for the Lord, not for you, Jim. No offense, okay? And that's just how I live my life, and I still live my life that way. And I've been successful because of Jesus, because of what God has done in my life. You got to stay hungry. You got to stay hungry. You have to. You know the people that aren't. You know the people that aren't hungry, and it's exhausting. Those people just suck the energy right out of you. The complainers, the whiners. Stay hungry. Get after it. Be a winner in Jesus. Love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Get after it. Okay? Bear the fruit of Jesus. That's what this shirt is. Lady at Chipotle liked it. Bear fruit. It's a bear, and it's fruit. Bear fruit. I know it's a white dad shirt, but it's whatever. Okay? Bear fruit. All right? So I want you guys to live your lives out for the Lord. Get A's and B's, not because your teacher says to, not because Mrs. Schwanda's staying on top of you, not because your mom's like, we're not going to do anything fun. Do it because the Lord told you to work as hard as you can. And then when you do make it, when you are successful, give him all the praise because he's the reason why you're here. I hope you guys learned something today. I will be a part of your chapel the last Friday of every month, if I'm correct. All right? But I love you guys. Hope to see you guys on Youth on Wednesday. If you guys are having a tough week, come to my office. I'll pray for you. Make sure your teacher knows that you're coming in there, okay? 2 years ago, I had kids coming in there and napping. They would walk in, Pastor Andy, so-and-so, Kellum said I could nap here. and they would pass out on my couch. Guess who walks in? Kellum. Dun, dun, dun. Why is he in here? Why is he in here? Mrs. Kellum, I don't know. He doesn't need to be in here. He didn't talk to me about it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Don't put me in that situation. Do not put me in front of Miss Kellum with Miss Kellum angry. That's how people die. Okay? I don't need that. All right? I don't need that stress in my life. I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. If you guys have any prayer requests, have your teachers email me. But I really hope we have a great school year together. I know it is what it is. Maybe this isn't the school you want to be in. Maybe this isn't the curriculum you want to do. Maybe this isn't the homework you want to do. None of that junk matters. Work as hard as you can. Live your testimony out and stay hungry. Let's pray. Lord, I just pray for each and every student in here. I pray that they would be who God designed them to be. I pray for the student in here that has dreams, that they would follow them. I pray for the student in here that loves you and loves other people. I pray that they would choose to love even the difficult people. Lord, help us live our calling out. I pray for these teachers, Lord, that you would watch over them and protect them. I pray that you'd give them energy and wisdom to wrap up their Friday strong. I pray for everybody's weekend. I pray that everybody would rest this weekend, take a break. I pray for the teacher in here that's been going full throttle, that they would spend tomorrow morning sleeping, resting. And Lord, just thank you so much for your word and your truth. Thank you for saving my life. I pray that you would continue to save these students' lives, and I pray that we would live you out and stay hungry for you. We love you, God, in everything you do. And everybody said...